To support us to continue to grow, please subscribe to our channel now. Thank you. A great obstacle to happiness is to expect too much happiness. A really great talent finds its happiness in execution. All happiness depends on courage and work. All happiness or unhappiness solely depends upon the quality of the object to which we are attached by love. As people spin faster and faster in the pursuit of merely personal happiness, they become exhausted in the futile effort of chasing themselves. Ask yourself whether you are happy and you cease to be so. People should find happiness in the little things, like family. Every gift from a friend is a wish for your happiness. Happiness always looks small while you hold it in your hands, but let it go, and you learn at once how big and precious it is. Happiness and sadness run parallel to each other. When one takes a rest, the other one tends to take up the slack. Happiness cannot be traveled to, owned, earned, worn or consumed. Happiness is the spiritual experience of living every minute with love, grace, and gratitude. Happiness consists more in conveniences of pleasure that occur every day than in great pieces of good fortune that happen but seldom. Happiness consists more in conveniences of pleasure that occur every day than in great pieces of good fortune that happen but seldom. Happiness grows at our own firesides, and is not to be picked in strangers' gardens. Happiness held is the seed, happiness shared is the flower. Happiness in this world, when it comes, comes incidentally. Make it the object of pursuit, and it leads us a wild goose chase, and is never attained. Happiness is a byproduct of an effort to make someone else happy. Happiness is a constant work in progress. Because solving problems is a constant work in progress, the solutions to today's problems will lay the foundation for tomorrow's problems, and so on. True happiness occurs only when you find the problems you enjoy having and enjoy solving. Happiness is a dry martini and a good woman. Or a bad woman. Happiness is a form of courage. Happiness is a matter of one's most ordinary and everyday mode of consciousness being busy and lively and unconcerned with self. Happiness is a place between too much and too little. Happiness is a thing to be practiced, like the violin. Happiness is a well-balanced combination of love, labor, and luck. Happiness is always a byproduct. It is probably a matter of temperament, and for anything I know it may be glandular. But it is not something that can be demanded from life, and if you are not happy you had better stop worrying about it and see what treasures you can pluck from your own brand of unhappiness. Happiness is always the serendipitous result of looking for something else. Happiness is an accident of nature, a beautiful and flawless aberration. Happiness is being content with what you have, living in freedom and liberty, having a good family life and good friends. Happiness is distraction from the human tragedy. Happiness is excitement that has found a settling down place. But there is always a little corner that keeps flapping around. Happiness is having a large, loving, caring, close-knit family in another city. Happiness is holding someone in your arms and knowing you hold the whole world. Happiness is itself a kind of gratitude. Happiness is largely a choice, not a right or entitlement. Happiness is like a butterfly which, when pursued, is always beyond our grasp, but, if you will sit down quietly, may alight upon you. Happiness is not an ideal of reason, but of imagination. Happiness is not being pained in body or troubled in mind. Happiness is not something ready-made. It comes from your own actions. Happiness is not something you postpone for the future, it is something you design for the present. Happiness is not the absence of problems, it's the ability to deal with them. Happiness is the default state. It's what's there when you remove the sense that something is missing in life. Happiness is the interval between periods of unhappiness. Happiness is the meaning and the purpose of life, the whole aim and end of human existence. Happiness is the resultant of the relative strengths of positive and negative feelings rather than an absolute amount of one or the other. Happiness is when what you think, what you say, and what you do are in harmony. Happiness is where we find it, but very rarely where we seek it. Happiness is your dentist telling you it won't hurt and then having him catch his hand in the drill. Happiness lies in the joy of achievement and the thrill of creative effort. Happiness makes up in height for what it lacks in length. If you want happiness for an hour, take a nap. If you want happiness for a day, go fishing. If you want happiness for a year, inherit a fortune. If you want happiness for a lifetime, help someone else. In my life I've learned that true happiness comes from giving. Helping others along the way makes you evaluate who you are. I think that love is what we're all searching for. I haven't come across anyone who didn't become a better person through love. In order to have great happiness you have to have great pain and unhappiness, otherwise how would you know when you're happy? It is not how much we have, but how much we enjoy, that makes happiness. It's the moments that I stopped just to be, rather than do, that have given me true happiness. Learn to let go. That is the key to happiness. Let us be grateful to people who make us happy. They are the charming gardeners who make our souls blossom. Love is that condition in which the happiness of another person is essential to your own. Many persons have a wrong idea of what constitutes true happiness. It is not attained through self-gratification but through fidelity to a worthy purpose. My family didn't have a lot of money, and I'm grateful for that. Money is the longest route to happiness. No medicine cures what happiness cannot. Now and then it's good to pause in our pursuit of happiness and just be happy. Real happiness is cheap enough, yet how dearly we pay for its counterfeit. Real happiness is not of temporary enjoyment, but is so interwoven with the future that it blesses forever. So we shall let the reader answer this question for himself: who is the happier man, he who has braved the storm of life and lived, or he who has stayed securely on shore and merely existed? Success is getting what you want, happiness is wanting what you get. Success is not the key to happiness. Happiness is the key to success. If you love what you are doing, you will be successful. The Constitution only guarantees the American people the right to pursue happiness. You have to catch it yourself. The essence of philosophy is that a man should so live that his happiness shall depend as little as possible on external things. The fact is always obvious much too late, but the most singular difference between happiness and joy is that happiness is a solid and joy a liquid. The foolish man seeks happiness in the distance, the wise grows it under his feet. The greatest happiness of life is the conviction that we are loved, loved for ourselves, or rather, loved in spite of ourselves.